So we'll go ahead and go over our PLC norms, and then we'll go in, and then I'll let you guys know where you need to go. We'll be positive at our meetings. We will not complain unless we have a solution. We will arrive on time and stay focused. We will each do our fair share of the work, and we'll listen and be respectful to others' perspectives. So our goal today is to analyze grade, class, and grade level data, decide on how to create groups or method for rotation, decide on the materials will be used, and then schedule a pre and post test, and begin discussing how to group students to provide remediation. The questions that we can address today is, do we remediate our own students or switch teachers? What are the advantages or disadvantages of switching? What groupings will we use? What resources will we use? Do we use the growth monitoring test provided by iReady? If so, do we give the pre and post test to all students or just those that are below grade level? And when do we want to schedule this test? And then how many weeks do we wait to do the post test to check for growth? So if you'll look on the back, I tried to put this all together so you guys wouldn't have to look too much, but go ahead and look on the back of this piece of paper. This is on your agenda. So what I did was I put on there, I looked at this in depth, and when I looked at it, it said overall in third grade, I mean, you can see numbers and operations, it says a scale score 416, algebra and algebraic thinking 420, measurement data 427, and geometry 419. And what is that? What do you think about that? What does that say to you guys?
They're close. I think they're fairly close.
Yeah.
I don't know what those scale scores mean though. Like,
yeah, I don't.
That's
sure.
considered grade level,
Well,
or like what the range
I'm
is?
not sure about that, but to me, my interpretation of that was there's nothing that's way worse than any of the others.
Yeah,
they're all about
pretty
the
close.
same.
Yeah.
So then I sent you that email. Let me go ahead. Let's go ahead and go to your iReady account. And then if there's any way that you can also pull up that, did you guys get that Google Doc that I sent you yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's going to be more important than going to the iReady. So if you can pull up your Google Doc, that's going to be good.
So the one that's possible groupings?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
When you're in iReady, do you go through Internet Explorer?
No, the cloud. I'm clever. And
Well, for you, if you have administrative rights, you just type in, I just go through Google and do, type in iReady,
Yeah.
and then iReady login,
Yeah.
and then put in the password and
It tells me my browser is not supported.
I don't know why it would do that. So everybody got that document pulled up? Everybody except for me? Okay, I'll be almost there. Okay, so when I looked at, okay, so let me give you a folder. Inside the folder, when you open it up, you'll see intervention screener report and instructional grouping profile report. So those are the two things that we're going to look at. So here's Lindsay's. And Lauren, you want to look at Amy's? And then Jamie. And then do you want one? Okay. Okay. So instead of having you to have to go through iReady and try to find this information, I went ahead and printed it out, and hopefully it'll make some sense. So let's go over. So if you look at this intervention screener report, that ranks our kids from top to bottom, high to low. Do you have one, Jamie?
no, that's okay. I can look at Lindsay's. Are they all combined? Or is it by grade, by classroom?
No, it's.
Oh, I got it. I have it. It's
Okay.
just in the back. I got it.
Okay. So as you can see, like, Knox is at the top, and then so you have the green, the yellow, and we have lots of yellow, and then we have the red. We don't have that many kids that are above grade level. That's just the overall score. So when I looked at that, it's hard to make groupings based on overall scores when we're trying to look at each domain.
Yeah.
So I went into the next. Go ahead.
Well, just remember this is on standard view, so if we look at that based on the beginning of year view, that changes things.
It does
also.
change it, and actually I think it makes it worse. I think it does it like less. Like I don't know the difference is between
Well,
standard and.
the beginning of year view makes it better, because if you look at mine, that's standard
projected.
view, because it's saying they're one
Third
grade
grade.
level below third grade,
So
but
what's
they
the
haven't done third grade
So what is the
yet.
difference between standard and
So standard view is like where they should be by the end of the year.
It's
okay?
like the bog.
And then beginning of year view this is based on looking at the end of second grade, which is what they have right now.
So when I
because-
printed this, I should have printed the beginning of the year view instead of the.
I don't know. I think
Okay,
this is
I think
valuable
either
too.
way,
Yeah.
it's both valuable
Projecting.
information.
Okay.
But it's
Okay, so-
just-
Then when you look at, when I do this instructional grouping profile report, okay, so that's the thick one. And that one, what it does is okay, profile 1 is saying that these kids are below level in numbers and operations or algebra and algebraic thinking.
Okay.
If they're profile 1, they're 2 or more grades below in numbers and operations or algebraic thinking. And if they're a profile 2, they're 1 grade level below in numbers and operations and algebraic thinking. And now there's nobody in profile 3. Then when you go to profile 4, this deals with it says on or above level in numbers and operations and algebraic thinking, and then you have 2 or more. But so they're the 3s, 4s, and 5s are on grade level in numbers and operations and algebraic thinking, but they're 2 or more grade levels below in geometry and measurement and data.
Okay.
So when I look at this, I don't think we can make groupings like in our classrooms based on this.
I wonder how they value this. They said that prior to geometry and measurement, you had to have number and operation. Do you think? And that's why they.
Well, I think numbers and if you look at, okay, so if you break down numbers and operations, we're talking about just the basics, like
Yeah.
being able to make sets of tens. and-
Okay.
So those are like to me, those numbers and operations is foundational to everything else.
Okay.
So that's the reason, and you guys can tell me if you disagree, and that's perfectly fine. But that's the reason I went into each one of our lists, and I did, from top to bottom, you looked at your groupings, like what they said your grouping should be based on just numbers and operations, and then Lindsay's numbers and operations, and mine numbers and operations, just numbers and operations.
And I think we could support that with the EOG. Amy has that where it breaks it down and really analyzes, and I think the majority of them are number and operation.
I do too.
I
A
think
large
that's
percent, and I know it's like that in 4th grade too.
Yeah.
So, you know how we talked about, rotating groups? To me, and I said this in the email, I don't think it makes sense to rotate groups right now, because why am I gonna send my kids to learn numbers and operation from Lindsay or to you when I'm gonna have to teach numbers and operation? I mean, we're all having to teach numbers and operations to our kids. I think when we're gonna do that is when we get closer to the end of the year and we've covered all the standards, and then we see specific, we've got kids that, they only need geometry, and this one kid only needs numbers and operations. Thoughts about that?
I agree.
Well, I agree too, but then that may be worthwhile looking at that beginning of the year to see them what were their holes leaving 2nd grade.
What do you mean?
Well, if we go to that beginning of year view,
Okay.
that looks at the holes that they left 2nd grade
Okay,
with.
so you can go into, and I'll pass this around, I did not print, I only printed maybe, I know I printed 1, maybe 2. This is a diagnostic report that you can do for every child, but look how thick it is, so I only did it for 1 child.
Yeah.
But do you remember how Bo said that, it has a check mark, and that means they've mastered it?
Okay.
If it's
Filled
filled
in.
in, if it's not filled in, it's
Yeah.
partially. So I'm just going back to Hannah's, for example, and Hannah's pretty decent in math, but when you go back even to her kindergarten, count to answer how many in the following situation given a number from 1 to 20, hers is only partial. So she's missing skills all the way back into kindergarten. So I think this diagnostic, based on the first diagnostic, so I think this might be worthwhile to go through back and look at that. I mean, it's time consuming, but just to go back and look at it for the kids. But here's another good thing. Here's kind of an overview. Let's see. You
Can I say
can,
one thought about that?
yes.
So that also may be, you just need to keep in mind that this was a computer test.
Mhm.
So it may be that on that particular question, she zoned out
Yeah,
and
it could
you know,
be.
picked an answer and moved
Yeah.
on. But I think that would be good to just, hey Hannah, come here and
Yeah.
do this real quick
Yeah.
for me.
Formal,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then you can see, oh, she really does have a gap here, or no, she just zoned
Yeah,
out on the
that's
computer
a
and
good
chose
point.
an answer and moved
Yeah,
on.
that's a good point too. Yeah. So there is a way to. There is a there. So when you do this big long report here, I have to have it twice. I have two here kids. I did Savannah's. It breaks it down and it tells you exactly what that kid needs in every domain.
From kindergarten on.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But then there's also, that's a then there's a summary sheet. In the summary sheet, and I thought I had printed one for one of the kids, but must have not brought it. But then you can do a summary sheet and it kind of gives you an overview and it's you can better deal with it. And we can talk more about that, like when we have planning. I
Okay.
can show you a little bit more about going through that. Like I did the North Carolina standards for this one. Okay? That was the long one. But you can also do a summary report, and it just kind of gives you a brief overview of what the kid needs.
Okay.
Okay, so what are your thoughts about the groupings? Have you had a chance to look at them?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so let's take a look at that. So see, for me,
Okay, so we're talking about the profile, just to clarify.
No.
We're talking about is this
no,
grouping?
now look at the possible groupings.
Okay, I
Are
got
you
you.
okay? First of all, is everybody okay with doing your own kids?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I agree
Okay.
with
And
that.
especially because with this PE, that's going to be a block, this enrichment
That's
time.
true.
You
I
know what I
didn't
mean?
even think about
so
that.
I mean, we couldn't even if we wanted to.
Okay.
They'll
Okay.
vary what days.
Okay,
you
and
know.
I didn't even think about that extra block, so you can add that in there. So I was just thinking about our normal math schedule, and so I was thinking if we did, I don't know, is 30 minutes whole class enough time, or do we need more?
I don't think. I mean, of course, I think we can always use more, but I think with our schedule, I think that's what we should go with.
Okay, so if we do 30-minute whole class, and then that gives you 2 rotations, 2 30-minute blocks for kids to do stations with. Understand what I'm saying? So like, look at mine, for example. Now let's look at yours, Jamie.
Okay.
Okay. So yours is at the bottom. Okay. So if you did 30 minutes whole class, and then you did on Monday, and then you did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday,
Okay.
you're meeting with your little group. Those same kids. The first block.
Okay.
In the second rotation, one day you're going to have Mara's group. The next day you'll have another group. The next day you'll have Mara's group, and then the next day you'll have your what. And the reason I said
Okay.
because some of your kids are still testing,
Sure.
so I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know who to put in there. And your numbers will change, as you get your results back, and you can plug them in wherever they belong.
You said this is focusing on the numbers and operations.
Yes,
Okay,
just
gotcha.
numbers
Okay,
and
gotcha.
operations.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that would give us on Friday, we could do 45 minutes of math, like we could do math discussions, or already has data talks that you can have with your kids. And then there's also a paper that they fill out, and it's in your folder. A paper that they fill out, and they go in, and you can guide them to fill out their own paper of where, like it even goes into how many minutes of online instruction did you do? How did you do? What did you score? How many did you pass? Like it's just my weekly online
portfolio,
instruction
okay.
progress. So the lesson name, the date, the score, passed or not passed. One thing I learned in this lesson, questions I have on this lesson. Now there's several different views. This is just one. Here's another one you can do instead. You can do, or I think I'm going to do it in addition to, maybe, I'm not sure. But you may just want to choose which one you want to do, and I can help you get to those and print those out. But this one just gives a lesson name and what you made and what you learned or what you wondered. I kind of like that, simple. I can see my kids doing better on that one. So it's this one right here.
And that may be a progression.
Yeah.
This may be the one to start off with,
Yeah.
and then eventually Is this one as well, this green one?
Yeah, it just gives you choices.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just print them all so you can see the choices that
Okay.
you have, so you didn't have to go hunt for those. So I was just thinking on Fridays, we kind of talked about that being kind of a flex day, so that could be the day that we get them to focus on writing goals, looking at writing math goals, looking at how they're doing. You're going to have some that have the red flags or the yellow flags, and you can pull those kids up and say, hey, listen, that you've got a yellow flag, you've got a red flag, this is what this means, or you didn't pass this one, let's talk about it and kind of, pull it up and see how things are going. And then, so that's what I was thinking about Friday. It's just doing math talks, whole class, and then a whole class lesson. Maybe you can pull some I-ready lessons and do a whole class if you see that there's one particular thing that everybody's struggling with. And then the data chats and setting goals, pulling kids up like one at a time and doing that. So thoughts on that?
So that would be instead of investigations on Friday, or
Well,
in addition to?
That's completely up to y'all. That's what we got to decide. So if we do that, we would have 30 minutes of whole class instruction. But didn't you say that you use that for flex time, or no?
Well, I think what I had talked about doing that, or that 45 minutes is when they all do their designated iReady computer time.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
And then, so that was
Yeah.
part of it. getting
Oh
that
yeah,
in.
let's see, at the bottom I've got, down there I said 45 minutes of every student focused on iReady, math, and
Okay, so that was, okay.
So then, but the first 45 minutes, I don't know, can we not do investigations that day?
I'm reluctant, could we bump that to like 20 minutes or something?
Okay.
Could we shorten that?
So
And
do.
Am I
do
correct in
two-
saying that the recommended use of is 30 to 40 minutes of iReady a week, or what was that Bo was
No,
recommending?
I think it's 40.
You think it's 45?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's 45 minutes, but
Okay.
they're getting their 45 minutes
reading.
during the computer time of
For-
reading.
Of reading, so we're
reading, but
trying
not
to,
math.
but not for
Right,
math.
Right.
Okay.
But it's hard to put 45 minutes of your 90 minutes. That's what you're talking about, right? I came in at the end,
Yeah.
but you're talking about putting 45 minutes of your 90 minute, and that's a little bit hard because what you're doing then, I think, is it's not supplanting your instruction, it's replacing your instruction.
So where would we get a significant 45 minutes in during the day?
Well, the recommended time is 30 to 45.
Okay.
So I know you
Is
can
that
go
a
to
week?
45.
That's a week?
It's a week.
Okay.
And I think we're going to have to do it. I think it can always be one of your rotations. And I don't know
That's
where
what
we
I
are
would
with
do.
that, but
Well, we talked about, I sent out, I sent
I
it to you.
sent you- I
Okay.
saw it. Mhm.
So in that, so when we do the rotations, okay, so here's the thing though. We've got like one group, the lowest group. So I'm looking at Jamie's. The lowest group that has Mia in it. Her group is meeting with her. Well, I guess she could. She would have a rotation. It'll work. It could work as their rotation.
well, it should always be one of your rotations, I think, only because it's
Yeah, okay.
you can do it, and it's 30 minutes. If that's how, I don't know how y'all decided to do, and I don't know if we're calling it rotations or intervention, remediation. I don't know.
Let's just call it rotations, because what we've got is, so like we teach for 30 minutes, whole group, and then we're having the rotations, and the kids are going to be in the rotation or in a group or station, whatever, for 30 minutes. So whole class, and then so if I'm Jamie, I'm going to teach for 30 minutes, and then my kids are going to go into their stations, and I'm going to pull Mia's group, and I'm going to do that the second part, the 30 minutes every day. I'm pulling her group first, and then after I pull Mia's group for 30 minutes, I'm going to go, for example, to Mara's group, and I'm going to pull them.
But you have 100, or you have 75 minutes for math, right? No, you have 100.
90.
Why does it say,
So I've
I'm
got,
looking at 100 minutes on your schedule.
I'm looking at
12 o'clock to 1:40?
1:30. Well,
Well,
Let's say
you
1:40,
only
yeah,
needed
yeah,
30
yeah,
minutes
yeah.
for science and social studies. You only need 30 minutes per the county for science and social studies, so that's 1:40 to 2:10. So your math time is 12 to 1:40.
That's actually 100 minutes.
That's That's what I said, 100 minutes. So why are you only teaching a half an hour and then doing your rotation?
I don't know. I'm just trying to find some way to fit in the rotations and I thought we had a 90-minute block. So 30, 60, 90.
So what do you think, an instruction, rotation, what's the last?
Rotation.
2
We
rotations?
do 2 rotations.
Because that way it allows, if you look at that schedule, if you look at Jamie's, that allows me to teach my lowest kids, meet with them every day for 30 minutes. And those lowest kids are at kindergarten level.
But I don't think that you can do your instruction in a half an hour only.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
my
so what
concern.
about if we have 100 minutes? Why don't we could do 40 minutes? Surely we can get our instruction in 40 minutes, can't we?
But you're not doing that through, when you do ELA and you're doing your rotations, are you doing an hour and then rotations?
I haven't
Yes.
started rotations, so I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't started rotations in ELA, yes, but yes, when we do, it'll be an hour because that's how much it takes for written wisdom.
Wit and wisdom just requires a whole lot.
At a minimum.
Right.
We've just found that when you do your 10-minute math, that for me, when I do my 10-minute math and I do my lesson, it's not taking more than 30 minutes. And then that's when the kids are going and are working in their workbooks and I'm walking around and trying to help them, or we're doing supplemental activities. That's just what I think, but that may not be right.
So I would
that's
say
about-
40 minutes. Yeah, I mean 10 minutes for the 10-minute math,
Math,
and then probably a
okay.
30-minute investigation lesson. And then, I mean, that's just the teacher teaching. And then it's, yeah, they're breaking up and they're getting
Partners
their
or,
math
yeah.
workbooks out, or they're playing the investigations game, or, you know, working on fluency or whatever that is. But I would say we could do it 40.
So we have 100 minutes, we could do 40 there. You still, could you want us to cut our rotations down to smaller numbers? Like if we cut to 25 and 25, and then that gives us 50 minutes of teaching?
So I guess my biggest question is, in reading, you're only going to have one group. I don't know what y'all decided to do in reading, but if you're only going to have
Yeah.
4 rotations and you're going to take 30 minutes for that one rotation. But in math, you want to have double that because
Because the kids are so low. They're kindergarten level in math. And how are we gonna get them from kindergarten level
And I kind of see
meeting
jet time
one
as
day
a-
meeting one day a week?
but jet time is reading.
Yeah, but I'm saying I see that as
Oh.
additional for reading, so I kind of justify it like that. I think we could justify it. But reading, they do have the one rotation and as well as jet time. To
So
work.
you're doing the 2 different rotations because so that we can meet with those lowest kids
Yes.
more
The
often.
point was to meet with the lowest kids most
But
often.
if you did an hour of math instruction and then you did one rotation, the day that you have PE, you have that open time. So that day, that's intended from the county to be used for math intervention. So
Okay.
that time, that's a 45-minute time.
But when you have 4 groups, you're gonna hit each group once a week. Because if you have 6 or 8 kids if you have 8 kids sitting at the table, it's not going to be. This is my opinion. It's not going to be very effective because 8 kids. And half of them have ADHD, and they're just bouncing off the walls. But if I've got my 4 little kids sitting here and I'm really focused in on them, so what I did was I split the groups. Because there was so many of them, I split them into smaller groups of like no more than 6. And so still we'd have like four groups based on their groupings, their math groupings. So if I have 4 groups of kids, I'm getting one Monday, one Tuesday, one Wednesday, one Thursday, and then I hit my lowest group on my extra PE day. So I only get them twice a week. I just don't know how effective meeting with them for 30 minutes twice a week is going to be. Or once a week.
Well,
Can you identify what, I mean, when you say they're on that kindergarten level, so what is it that they're missing from the kindergarten? Can you identify that?
You can, but you have to go in, everybody has to go in
And
and
see
do the
what it is.
entire, and pull the whole profile.
The whole, like that big packet
This
you
right
had of
here.
one student?
This tells you everything they're missing.
Now, are you
But if you look at this profile, this one right here, it'll tell you what specifically you need to do and what lessons. And I've copied those lessons off into another file.
So what are those lessons? I mean, are they something that we can introduce
Yeah.
to them and then go and meet with a second group so they're meeting
No,
simultaneously?
you were sitting down. You were sitting there.
Okay.
Most of the time, you're using
It's-
you're using manipulatives.
Okay, okay.
and
So
it's
gonna
just
be teacher,
like
okay, yeah.
iReady for ELA, which you are not there yet, but
Yeah.
you're going to be there
Yeah.
very soon. So she's actually coming today in a little bit to talk. But it's very similar where you identify, for example, you need first word fluency. And so then you print off all of the words and that's your practice. That's the lesson plan. So this is what this is. These are the lesson plans. These are the areas where they are
Okay.
weak in. You need to identify if it's number sense from patterns, and you start looking at sequences. 3, 6, 9, 12, and you can do division, you can do multiplication, and invert it and do division. So if you know what they're missing, that's what this is telling you.
And the lessons address it, and I've got this pulled into a folder that I'm going to share on the Google Drive.
Okay.
So you don't have to go looking for those two, but they have a lesson for each. I mean, there's like 5. I know there's 5 lessons for numbers and operations, but it's you sitting down there with your blocks and you are
Okay.
sitting. That's the reason I thought smaller groups, because I just think about jet time when I've got all those kids and they just don't have room to spread out, and then you put them in that small group and they're like trying to maneuver with these blocks and stuff. It's just really hard. So that's the reason I put them in
Do they
small
recommend
groups.
30 minutes? Is it possible to do it in 20?
Oh, they don't. Well, actually, they do recommend 30 minutes because
Okay.
I have a schedule. Hold on a second. I'll print it. I'm glad you said that.
It is 30. It's 30 to 45 minutes.
She's talking about the grouping.
I'm talking about the grouping, yeah, the
schedule.
groups, small
They
groups,
have
the small
sample.
groups.
They have sample schedules, and
Did you say Hannah Griffin was a pretty average math student?
yeah.
So see, that's why I'm wondering, when I see what she didn't get from kindergarten, it's count to answer how many. And was that just a doing
That's
it
what
on
I'm
the
thinking.
computer?
Yeah.
Given a number from 1 to 20, count out that many objects.
Yeah,
So
she
was
could
it a
do that.
manipulation of the mouse and moving it?
That's what I would think. But
And
that's
then-
a quick, easy, come here, Hannah, show me
Yeah, 'cause
17
that's
blocks,
Okay.
and then she can
That's
do it.
4 of those that
misconceptions.
she didn't get from kindergarten.
Right.
And they're all CC5.
Well,
20 objects or 10 objects.
I'd have to go get the schedule, but you asked the question
Yeah,
about.
okay.
They give sample. iReady shows sample teacher schedules,
Okay.
and they show. And that's another reason I did it, because they show 30-minute rotations, and that's
Okay.
the reason I did. That's another reason I
Okay.
did 30-minute rotations. Is because I was looking at. They had 3 samples, and they were all of 3rd grade, and they said this is how Mrs. So and So does her rotations, and it shows how she does them. So I looked at those samples and their recommendations of how to do them. And they did 2 rotations.
We've always in the past last year, we did an hour of whole group and then 30 minutes but we just did 1 rotation, which is,
But you didn't do 1 rotation when you were doing, I guess it was ELA that I'm thinking of, early morning when you were going from here to here to here.
yeah, I'm talking about math.
Yeah, but we did 1 for 1.
Right.
With ELA, that was just 1 as well.
I know, but why did you choose to do, my question is just your mindset of doing 1 rotation for math and several for ELA.
No, I mean just 1 block of rotations. we had 4 rotations as far as, the 4 different stations you went to.
And was the block an hour-long block, and they did 15-minute stations?
No, it's 30 minutes.
No,
It started off being
They just go to
two.
1 station per day, each group.
Both math and ELA.
Yeah.
Mhm. They just went to 1 30-minute, that you were doing that one thing, and then Tuesday you went to the different 30 minutes for math and ELA.
And we started with 2 20 minutes, and it wasn't really long enough,
Yeah.
so and stuff like that. It felt too like hectic, and so they weren't able to. So, anyways.
So we're in agreement that you have to have instruction and that you're going to have the iReady groups. I think we're going to have some type of intervention. I think we need to look at, on a schedule, like what does that look like? And identifying exactly where you're going to pull that time.
And I think this could work
Well,
if
isn't
we
it-
did 50 minutes of whole class
Yeah.
and then 25 minutes for group 1, 25 minutes for group 2.
Yeah. So looking at
She'd be okay with that.
what I sent.
Mm-hmm.
So I said Monday, the 30 minutes of whole class, we can change, that can be changed to 40 or even 50.
Yeah, I don't think 30
So,
30
okay,
is.
So if we did 50, and then we did 25 and 25,
Yes.
That would.
Yes.
I just don't feel good about having meeting with that one group 1 day a week.
I know. And that's why I think it's going to be a conversation in looking at the schedule and looking to see where we can pull. It's a fine line between using this and working with lower kids and meeting their needs and making sure that their deficiencies, that we're compensating for those. And doing grade level instruction. And so when you look at the 90-minute plan, the 90-minute county-wide plan that we have, it is teacher facilitated, teacher instruction, and then you have that possibility of, you have that 10-minute open investigation math, you have math games that you can break into, you have lessons for today that would require you small groups, but it was not intended that you teach 30 and you use 60 of that, or 40 of that 100 minutes for groups. You know what I'm saying?
So I wonder what the county would say, how they would like to incorporate investigations and everything they're giving us with iReady, and what that
Well,
would look like.
Well, I think that they're going to leave it up to us because the county really is only looking at iReady ELA.
Okay.
We
So
are
what do
looking,
you
and
think?
Cindy's looking at, I think you should look at it very similar through the lens that we're doing ELA. In that no matter what you're using, math or ELA, iReady is used to support the instruction. It is used to identify their deficiencies, teach to what they're missing, and help support it. It's not intended to, I'm only going to teach 30 minutes and then you're going to use this 30 minutes to get up to speed. It's not the growth that they're seeing, like when you look at Florida, and we had schools that were in the red. I forgot the number, but anyway, they were in the red, and through iReady, they were B school. They were an F school. They were an F school initially. Many schools in Florida, that's why the whole state has adopted iReady. They were F schools and they're B schools, or F schools and they're A schools.
But
that
what
for
did
math or
did
for
they
ELA?
did they have investigations? Did they do 90 minutes of investigations and then?
Or did they use
Or
iReady
did they
as
use
a-
iReady
as
because
their
they're showing,
curriculum?
because iReady's showing groupings, they're showing 30 minutes
See,
of
I think
teaching
that's
and
as
30
their
and two
curriculum.
30 minutes of rotation. I think it's their curriculum. I don't think there's any way that they did 90 minutes of another program and then had their meet. And I just don't think iReady would have put out this as sample schedules if that's not what teachers were doing.
Well, that's not what the county is doing.
Okay.
That, I can tell you that's not the county. We are adopting iReady as our Lexia literacy program to support our wit and wisdom or Great Minds or the ELA that we have. It is not, it is not meant to
Right.
supplant and take the place of that.
But if we don't, and I understand that, but if we don't provide those support lessons, we can retest the kids every day
Correct.
and there's going to be no progress.
Correct. Correct. And so what you're saying is you are way over here on step 6. When you look at that continuum, you are looking at what are we going to do? How are we going to intervene? What does that remediation look like? I think we can do it,
Okay.
but I think it is a conversation of really looking at the schedule.
Okay.
So,
Where are y'all in math right
So
now?
when
Are
can
you
we do
still
that?
in?
You did cluster
Um,
one.
Huh?
Cluster 1 for another 2 weeks.
so when do
October
y'all
5th.
do your team planning?
Whenever we can, like Tuesday, Thursday. So, but that being said, ladies, I'm afraid it's our time.
I know.
So maybe we can continue this on the recess, or you don't know if you have.
So,
But we can also look at it on Wednesday.
Okay.
When
Okay.
you all, when you get back in here on
Okay.
Wednesday, we can look at it on Wednesday.
Okay.
I didn't
Okay,
go
Mark,
through
you-
this, but I'll go through that. This was something that we thought of.
Do I also have
Lauren,
words
you
our
want to-
way for agenda for Wednesday as well?